If you are feeling strangely calm after months of pain, this may not mean the connection is over. It may mean you have entered the final stage before everything shifts. And this is the part that confuses many souls on the twin flame path, because they expect the final stage to feel dramatic. They expect signs everywhere, sleepless nights, heart-racing dreams, sudden messages, and the kind of emotional storm that shakes them awake. But often, just before a deep energetic change, the soul does something unexpected. It becomes quiet. Not because love has disappeared. Not because the bond was false. Not because you imagined the connection. But because your soul has finally stopped fighting what it cannot control. There comes a moment on the twin flame journey when you no longer wake up with the same ache in your chest. You no longer check your phone every few minutes. You no longer search every song, every number, every silence, trying to decode whether they still feel you. And at first, this peace may frighten you. You may ask yourself, am I losing the connection? Am I moving on? Have I become numb? Is this the end? But listen carefully. Sometimes, what feels like the ending of attachment is actually the beginning of true alignment. The final separation is not about losing your twin flame. It is about no longer losing yourself in the connection. At the beginning of separation, everything feels intense. One message can lift you into heaven. One silence can drop you into doubt. One memory can open the whole wound again. You may have spent nights asking the universe for proof, asking your guides for signs, asking your heart why it cannot simply forget. But separation is never only about distance between two people. It is about the distance between who you were and who your soul is trying to help you become. And the first sign that you may be entering this final stage is one most people misunderstand. You are not triggered the same way anymore. Before, even a small sign of distance could disturb your entire inner world. If they did not reply, you felt rejected. If they appeared happy without you, you felt forgotten. If they pulled away, you felt abandoned. Your mind would run in circles, creating stories, searching for answers, trying to protect you from uncertainty. But now, the same things do not break you in the same way. You may still feel something. You may still miss them. You may still remember the energy between you. But the emotional storm does not take over your whole being anymore. You can breathe through it. You can observe it. You can say, this feeling is here, but it is not controlling me. That is not emotional weakness. That is soul maturity. Because union, in its highest form, cannot be built on panic. It cannot be built on chasing. It cannot be built on the fear that someone must return quickly, or you will not survive. True union begins when the soul remembers, I am already whole. The second sign is that you feel detached, but not empty. This is a very important difference. Numbness is when your heart shuts down because it is exhausted. Detachment is when your heart remains open, but your hands stop gripping. You still care, but you no longer cling. You still love, but you no longer beg. You still remember them, but the memory no longer destroys your day. You may begin to enjoy your own life again. You may laugh without guilt. You may make plans without wondering whether they will return first. You may feel peace in your body, even while the connection remains somewhere in the background of your soul. And this can feel strange, because for so long, you may have associated love with longing. You may have believed that if you are not aching, you are not loving. If you are not waiting, you are not loyal. If you are not suffering, the connection must be fading. But dear soul, love does not have to wound you to be real. Love does not have to consume your entire life to be sacred. Sometimes, the most powerful love becomes quiet because it has moved from fear into trust. You are not losing the love. You are losing the desperation. You are not losing the connection. You are losing the anxiety around the connection. You are not losing them. You are finally finding yourself. The third sign is that your energy has returned to you. In the earlier part of separation, your energy may have been living around them. What are they thinking? Are they awakening? Do they miss me? Will they come back? Are they with someone else? Did they understand what this was? But slowly, the questions begin to change. You start asking, what kind of life do I want to create? What part of me still needs healing? What dream did I abandon while waiting? What joy have I postponed? What version of me is trying to be born through this pain? This is where everything changes. Because now, your life is no longer a waiting room. Your life becomes a temple. You begin taking care of your body, your mind, your home, your work, your creativity, your peace. You may feel called to simplify your surroundings. You may feel drawn to nature, prayer, meditation, journaling, or silence. You may begin to protect your energy more carefully. You may stop explaining yourself to people who cannot understand your soul. And most importantly, you begin doing these things for yourself. Not to make them feel you. Not to make them return. Not as a spiritual trick to attract communication. But because you finally understand that your own life deserves your attention. This is the stage where your glow becomes different. It is not the glow of someone trying to be noticed. It is the glow of someone who has returned home to their own spirit. The fourth sign is that you have released the need to control the timeline. This may be the hardest part of all. The human mind wants dates. It wants proof. It wants certainty. It wants the universe to say, this is when they will return. This is when the apology will come. This is when everything will finally make sense. But the soul does not move according to pressure. The soul moves according to readiness. And when you enter this final separation, something inside you begins to surrender. Not in a defeated way, but in a peaceful way. You stop saying, it must happen now. And you begin saying, if it is meant for my highest good, it will arrive in the right way, at the right time, with the right energy. This is not giving up. This is trusting. There is a great difference between surrender and hopelessness. Hopelessness says, nothing will happen. Surrender says, I do not need to force what is divinely aligned. And when you reach this point, your energy becomes lighter. You no longer try to pull the future into the present before it is ready. You no longer measure your worth by someone else's silence. You no longer treat delay as rejection. You simply stand in your own energy and say, I am safe. I am guided. I am complete. What is meant for me will not require me to abandon myself. And if this message feels like it reached you at the exact right moment, subscribe to Starlit Union, because sometimes the soul only needs one reminder to stop doubting what it already knows. The fifth sign is that the connection feels stable inside you. Earlier, you may have questioned everything. Was it real? Was it only chemistry? Was it obsession? Was it a lesson? Was it one-sided? Was I foolish for believing in this? But in the final separation, the connection no longer needs constant mental debate. It becomes something quiet inside you. It is simply there. Like a star in the night sky. You do not need to stare at it every second to know it exists. You do not need to explain it to everyone. You do not need to defend it. You do not need to prove it through signs, readings, dreams, or messages. You know what you felt. And that knowing becomes calm. This is why the final stage can feel so confusing. On the outside, there may be no dramatic evidence that anything is changing. There may be no message, no reunion, no conversation, no visible movement. But inside you, everything is different. Your nervous system is not as reactive. Your heart is not as desperate. Your mind is not as loud. Your soul is not begging anymore. And this inner shift is more important than most people realize, because the outer world often rearranges itself only after the inner world has changed. The sixth sign is that your self-love becomes real. In the beginning, you may have said, "I am focusing on myself," but a hidden part of you may still have been hoping they would notice. You may have been healing so they would return, growing so they would feel you, becoming better so they would finally choose you. But now, it is different. You choose yourself because you are worthy. You rest because your body deserves peace. You set boundaries because your energy is sacred. You stop accepting crumbs because you no longer confuse crumbs with destiny. You stop abandoning yourself just to keep an energetic connection alive. And this is one of the deepest lessons of the twin flame path. The connection awakens you, but it is not meant to replace your own soul. It may show you your wounds, your fears, your abandonment patterns, your need for validation, your fear of being forgotten, but it shows you these things so they can be healed. The twin flame journey is not simply about two people coming together. It is about the divided parts within you coming back into harmony. Your heart and your mind. Your masculine and your feminine energy. Your faith and your boundaries. Your love and your self-respect. Your softness and your strength. When these parts begin to unite within you, you become different. You no longer stand outside someone else's life, waiting to be chosen. You stand inside your own light, remembering who you were before fear told you that love had to hurt. And this is where the final separation becomes sacred. Because you realize, you were never being punished. You were being prepared. Prepared to love without losing yourself. Prepared to feel deeply without becoming dependent. Prepared to receive without chasing. Prepared to trust without controlling. Prepared to become the version of yourself who can hold love without fear destroying it. So if you are in this quiet stage, do not panic. Do not mistake peace for disconnection. Do not mistake surrender for failure. Do not mistake emotional stability for the end of love. Sometimes, the soul becomes quiet just before a new door opens. Sometimes, the universe removes the noise so you can hear your own truth. Sometimes, the final separation is not the moment when love disappears. It is the moment when fear finally leaves the room. So ask yourself gently, can I love them and still choose myself? Can I feel the connection and still live my life? Can I trust the universe without demanding proof every day? Can I stop chasing and allow what is aligned to meet me in peace? Because your love was never meant to make you smaller. It was meant to awaken the vastness within you. And when you finally stop losing yourself in love, something powerful happens. You become love. You become the peace you were waiting for. You become the home you wanted them to give you. And from that place, whatever is truly meant for your soul can finally recognize you clearly. Write in the comments, I am no longer losing myself in love. Let that be your affirmation. Let that be your turning point. Let that be the moment your energy returns fully back to you. And if this message touched your heart, like this video, and subscribe to Starlit Union for more soulful guidance on love, healing, and the deeper journey of connection. Until next time, stay gentle with your heart, trust the timing of your soul, and remember, what is truly meant for you will never require you to abandon yourself.